I'll tell you, I have a curious relationship with Christianity. My mom was a nun and my father was a Franciscan brother. And so I grew up admiring Jesus like anybody admires mom, ex-husband. But I've really had it with these revoltingly fake Christians. And again, when I say that, some of the best Christians I've ever known have been atheists. And some of the most godless heathens I've ever known have been believers. And when I talk about the Bible, I'm saying atheists need to know this stuff too, because the media is not going to call out the Pharisees. So like this morning I was on MS and there was this big conversation about how now in Georgia, Kelly Loeffler, great Christian, by the way, the way that she emulates Christ in making $1 million in stock trades while hiding how deadly the virus is from people. Yeah. Beautiful. They're attacking Reverend Warnock.
She had her little WWJD bracelet and it was like, sell all your stock. You know?
Exactly. I mean, sell your stock and give it to the poor is actually what Jesus would do. Like, people say, well, we want a government based on Christian values. And I'm like, well, based on my reading of the New Testament, that means you take care of the poor, you take care of the sick, you don't start wars, and you're kind to people in prison. That's if you want the Jesus-based government. But they're going after like Reverend Warnock now, and it's amazing. I was not alive to see the fake Christians go after Martin Luther King, but now the current pastor of Ebenezer Baptist Church is getting it, and they found a speech he gave 9 years ago where he talked about how you can't serve both God and the military. Now, clearly, he's talking about the Sermon on the Mount. Seems pretty, right? Yeah. Like Sermon on the Mount 101, like you can't serve God. And when you look at the whole thing, he's saying you can't serve God in money. You can't serve God in, and the military. You can't serve God in guns. He's talking about how believers put God first. So Kelly Loeffler and her crack team of winged monkeys put together this little tiny ad where that just says, you can't follow God and you can't support God and the military. And people are flipping out about this. And I'm not really surprised. These are the people who don't read the well-regulated militia part of the Second Amendment. So they're good at taking things out of context. But like they're weaponizing this to scare the hell out of white people. And it's great because to me, it just shows they're this terrified in Georgia. There's two Democratic senators now in Arizona. They're so horrified in Georgia. And my real problem's with the media, because haters going to hate, Pharisee's going to Pharisee. But like, if they're going to use the word Christ for political advancement, then how much do their politics advance the word of Christ? Because these people like to worship Jesus as a God, because that's a lot easier than following his inconveniently liberal teachings. And again, you don't need to believe any of this as literal fact to dig what I'm talking about, because the media will just say, well, you're Christian, which means you're anti-abortion and you yell at women outside clinics, or look at Biden's coalition proves that's not wrong. But the Republican Party has managed to do an incredible thing in this country, and it's why they stay in power. Because we both know there's millions of conservative Christians who don't like Donald Trump, but they're single issue voters on abortion. And the Republican Party got Christians to vote against everything Jesus ever talked about by talking about abortion, which Jesus never talked about. And the media plays dumb about all of this.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I think that the religious right, or when anyone is religious or a religious voter, automatically you're right. It's like, okay, well, hates abortion and pro, or like is against choice and is pro the death penalty. And, like
which
maybe
Jesus actually opposed. I mean, Jesus overturns eye for an eye in Sermon on the Mount. In his opening gig, he overturns eye for an eye. And these people don't know it. They haven't actually read the Bible. The average Trump Christian has a Bible that's the Golden Calf and the Book of Revelation, and it's duct taped to a Left Behind book. And that's what they live by. And I'd like believe what you want to believe.
But that's the thing is, like, you're right that I did a piece for Newsbroke, my show on AJ Plus that everyone should watch. Thank you. I did a piece on, the Christian right, and sort of we did it without making jokes about Christianity, which is, I as you know, as a comic who is also religious, it's like, it's an easy pot shot to just like take shots.
Yeah, I'm not religious, by the way. I'm a fan of Jesus, but not the unauthorized fan clubs. I feel the same way about Elvis, Love the guy. The fan clubs freak me out.
But it's like, and that's the thing is that people really responded to it because we didn't take pot shots at like belief, but we just like we're skewering the actual, far right
hypocrisy,
and exactly the hypocrisy. And so people were like, wow, thank you for actually like naming something that no one really names, which is that there are religious people, there are people who believe in Jesus who don't believe in this kind of like far right Christian. What it is Christian nationalism. It is incredible, like fascist, authoritarian, scary, whatever. We can talk all night about this, but
no, but I pour everyone. But I just always say to these people all the time when they call my show or when I debate them on other shows, I say, can you cite one teaching of Jesus that Donald Trump has ever fought for in his entire life? One teaching of the Nazarene that guided your vote. You know, that one thing Jesus taught that Trump's not the opposite of. And that's where you see, the Bible's like the Mueller report. You can't support Trump if you've read the second half. So I'm just like, Jesus taught me, whether he was real or not, Jesus taught me the joy of calling out religious hypocrites. And, when Tim Kaine can sit there for a 2-hour debate with Mike Pence and never bring up the homophobia, which is against everything Jesus ever talked about. Right. But we have this bullshit cognitive dissonance in the country where anti-abortionism and Christianity are the same thing. And Jesus was this radical revolutionary who hung out with lepers, hookers, and crooks, anti-death penalty, anti-public prayer, anti-wealth, never anti-gay, never mentioned abortion, long-haired, brown-skinned. Oh, yeah. Book of Revelation, brown-skinned, homeless, Middle Eastern, community organizing, anti-slut shaming, Palestinian liberal Jew. So I'm like, I'm all for a Christian nation. Let's start with free healthcare.
Lepers, Hookers, and Crooks, by the way, is the name of this podcast from now on.